Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on 790 The Bet. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me. Where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as Don King sings, and we sing.
I love
We're
that
not singing
song.
here. We're talking. We're just talking. Appreciate Ron Wong and Bill Cooksey being with us on this Saturday morning, the September the 23rd. Appreciate Brad Carson pushing all the buttons, making this thing go as it has for
He does a great job.
For over 23 years we've been doing this, and maybe we're going to get it down sometime, I guess. But looking forward to a lot of different things. A great show today, thanks to our good folks at BASS and the Major League Fishing and Bill and Ron, of course, pitching in there. We got a young man on with us right now that won some money recently out of Paris, Tennessee. That is Jake Lawrence. He won the two-day Major League Fishing Phoenix Bass Fishing League tournament on Pickwick Lake out of Iuka, Mississippi. He didn't just win it. He slammed it by
my goodness.
more than 20 pounds, the second largest victory margin in the history of BFL fishing.
Yeah.
And I know, Jake, I know that wasn't on your plans when you went in, but congratulations, young man.
Well, thank you very much. I tell you, I can't thank y'all enough for having me on this beautiful Saturday morning, and I look forward to diving into all the details and anything y'all would like to know about.
Well, that's exactly what...
That's what Ron Wong's going to ask you, okay? And Cooksy's going to want something else.
But Jake, first of all, congratulations. And,
thank you very much.
And I got to tell you, a very, very impressive win, not only by the amount that you...
51 pounds, 2 ounces, buddy.
Because this Pickwick Lake has been very, very stingy all year.
Yeah.
But tell our listeners, and we have a lot of them in the Mid-South area that fish Pickwick.
Yeah, tell
How
us.
did you do it? What did you use?
Yeah.
And how did you find your fish?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's back up, and you're exactly right. The fishing has been a little bit more difficult than what it has been in years past. Overall throughout the year, spring, summer, and now we're kind of into this early fall transition. It's not, in fact, what most people think. A lot of the guys that are out, and women as well, are experiencing less bites, and that generally leads to us believing that there aren't as many out there.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell y'all this lake is full of big ones.
Okay. All right.
It's unbelievable. In fact, I've never seen Pickwick kind of at the stage that it's in. So it's important to know that any body of water, whether we're talking Pickwick or Kentucky or even a local farm pond that you have, they all go in cycles. And so and I mean this long term, typically it's like a 5 to 8 year cycle where things will kind of be good, and then sometimes we kind of fall off a little bit, like we've seen recently, say the last 5 years there at Kentucky Lake.
Yeah.
But it's important that they, to know that they all go in cycles. And right now, I believe we're more or less kind of on the top end of most of the fish that we have in the system, kind of the top end of their life cycle. And so what we have are a ton of bass, but they're very, very educated.
Educated bass.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say.
Absolutely. And I tell you, it's amazing how many that you throw around and you never know it. Yeah, they just, of course, they'll come up and look at your baits and kind of show some interest there. But to get one to really trigger and to fire off is, to be honest with you, it's more difficult than it is to really find them.
Yeah.
Finding them is not as tough anymore as it is to get them to bite. But to kind of bring it all back in, typically in September, or let's call it this late fall, late summer, early fall transition.
Okay. Yeah.
It's always tough, regardless of what body of water you are, your own, and really what you're throwing. It's generally a little tougher. And So I kind of wanted to go into this tournament with a little different mindset. What that tells me, when you have a fishery that we know, generally throughout the year, it's going to take, call it 19 to 23 pounds to do,
right.
to do well, to be in position.
Yeah.
Every single tournament that we see in September, the weights are way lower than that, significantly lower. And that tells me when we have that caliber of anglers, and this is a year after year, I look back maybe 4 or 5 years, it's kind of the same trend. Generally, that's telling me that we're not throwing around them. So, again, I go back to we're throwing around a lot of them and we can't get to bite. But if you were truly throwing around that many of them, call it the majority of the population, you would fool a few of them.
Yeah, and you did.
So, correct. So I did here, but to get to that, I really went into this tournament with kind of a different mindset. Like I wanted to not go fish kind of the way that I know we're all supposed to fish in September.
Yeah, so, typical ledge fishing.
Correct. It was pretty obvious that a lot of the life and a lot of the food source had kind of shifted off of those main river ledges, and they weren't quite necessarily all the way in the backs of the bays, like kind of your traditional fall patterns.
They're in the
so I knew they were somewhere in between.
Yeah,
but
they're in the transition area.
In the transition area.
Absolutely. So what I ended up finding was that the majority of these fish were not related to the bottom.
And that suspended.
Helps kind of draw the picture as to why we have a hard time getting them to bite this time of year. Anytime that you're fishing below a bass, you've made it extremely difficult to trick him. So I would rather, in other words, I'd rather be 10 feet above a bass with my lure than I would be 10 inches below him. You've got a much better chance of him coming up. So
and you did with a 10-fish limit here of 51 pounds and 2 ounces, and second place was 30 pounds 7 ounces.
Yes,
sir. How does that compare? I know you'd won earlier in a tournament that said at Toyota Series up at Kentucky and Barkley Lakes in April. But to blow away the field like this, Jake, I mean, you had it, and they thought they had it, and nobody had it, but you had it.
That's right. I tell you, it's really unique with all of the outlets, the media outlets that we have, just as this radio show here.
Yeah.
I hope anyway that someone can take something positive away from this. Someone can learn something from this. And with all of the media outlets that we have, the YouTube, the radio shows, the social media, Facebook and Instagram, we're able to learn so much more now.
Oh, yeah.
And
we used to read books and magazines.
That you're able to find a pattern or an area that you have all to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what what I had here. I really, of course, I was fishing the same tournament waters as everyone else, but it was honestly like I was fishing a whole nother body of water.
Jacob, tell our listeners the baits that you use.
Yeah, I want to know that
specific pattern.
Absolutely. So again, the most important part to this was to, of course, get around them. These fish were the ones that I had located at the time were honestly, of these bass here on Pickwick, they were some of the easiest to catch. They were out there chasing more or less open water bait fish.
Yeah.
So there would be these big balls of bait, much the same of what we see, in the back thirds of the bays a little later this fall. But instead of them being real shallow, a lot of them were related kind of out in open water, whether it be in a creek channel or, along a kind of a shallow ridge. What's interesting is they were not relating so much to the shallow bar that where we always catch them. They were just around the bar. And that's where a lot of, I feel like a lot of people kind of missed the boat. In the sense that they were fishing the bottom and the kind of that hard edge that we traditionally catch them on.
Yeah. What was your bait? What was your bait of choice? What were you using?
So I caught the majority of what I weighed in on a Jinko 4.0 booty shaker, 4.25 booty shaker.
There we go, the booty shaker
on a 3.25, but it seemed like that 4 was. Would help me get a little bit bigger bite. Although I did catch a plethora of fish on jerk baits and Caught a few on a drop shot.
Yeah, but that Jinko fishing, the booty shaker that Ron talks about a lot here.
We talk about that.
A swim bait. And
I use it a lot.
Ron,
absolutely.
He uses it a lot. Again, we're talking to Jake Lawrence, Jake of Paris, Tennessee. And Jake, I really like a little background on yourself. You're from Paris. What do you do?
Yes, sir. So I'm actually originally, born and raised there in very northwest Tennessee, in Union City, real close to Reelfoot Lake.
All right.
However, I was among the first to, very, very fortunate, among the first to obtain a bass fishing scholarship through Bethel University.
There you go.
It's located there in McKenzie, and so that's kind of what got me in that Paris area. And of course, after I graduated, I kind of called that area home. It's an awesome place. I've been very, very fortunate to travel throughout most of the Southeast, but I tell you, there's nothing like about 100 miles from home. You know you're there.
You're a Bethel Wildcat then, right?
Absolutely.
I thought you were because Coach Mason
we've talked to a lot of guys from Bethel, and glad to have you. And, of course, Gary Mason does a great job there.
So, absolutely.
Coach Mason. So what's ahead for you, Jake? What's down the road for you now?
So we're really kind of in transition here. So my business model here for the last 3 or 4 years has really been focused on the individual. So say for instance you have a nice boat, and say we've got several $1,000s worth of electronics, which we all
tens of thousands of dollars.
It's one thing to have all of that. It's a whole nother world to kind of understand it and be able to utilize it to the best of its ability. So the last few years, I've really put most of my emphasis and most of my effort, rather, on taking you out in your boat. Let's get your electronics dialed in, and then whatever your target species is, I'm going to show you to the best of my ability of what they look like and how to target them and so on and so forth. But moving forward, we're kind of transitioning into, touring more full time. I am still going to guide, but it's going to kind of have to be scaled back just a hair. And I'm really working to get a lot of my social media and a lot of the YouTubes and Instagrams, that sort of thing. I'm really working here in the last week or so. I've been working to kind of get all that kicked off and get it working. If everyone will, please bear with me there. I've had a ton of calls and texts, emails, about when all that's going.
When you win money, Jake, things change. Okay, I mean, I'm just talking about it. Well, I appreciate you taking time. This is Jake Lawrence. Any way people can get in touch with you now or want to find out more about you, Jake? What do they go to?
Absolutely. My email address is jlawrenceoutdoors247 at gmail.com.
Okay.
And my phone number is 731-446-0445. That is honestly the best way to get in touch with me. That's my personal cell.
All right.
Again, I am working on my Facebook. I do have an account, but I've actually, it's a good problem to have. Buddy. I've maxed all of my friends out there, and so we're, again, kind of in transition to get things rolling.
Well, we appreciate you being with us, Jake, and we got your number, know how to contact you. Continue success, and hope to talk to you again. Okay, buddy?
Absolutely. Right. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thank you. All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Be right back.